Welcome to the IVF Journey with Dr. Michael Chapman, the podcast for couples who struggle with infertility and want to fulfill their dreams of becoming parents. In this podcast, you'll learn actionable strategies to deal with infertility from Dr. Michael Chapman, or Prof as he's affectionately known. Prof is the co-founder of IVF Australia and is a leading Australian infertility specialist who has helped over 3,000 couples realise their dreams of becoming parents. To access previous episodes packed with ideas, solutions and tips that actually work, head over to Dr. Chapman's IVF podcast on iTunes. You can also ask questions by contacting Dr. Chapman's rooms on 1800 111 483 or by emailing him michael.chapman@ivf.com.au.
That first cry of a baby born after the long journey of IVF remains one of the most beautiful experiences in the world. As an obstetrician and an IVF specialist, I've had the privilege of experiencing this over many thousands of times in my long career, but I still remain moved by each baby's first cry. It signifies the end of a long journey and the beginning of a new life. This is Professor Michael Chapman, co-founder of IVF Australia and host of the IVF Journey podcast. Thanks for tuning in. To access all the previous episodes, head over to my website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey Podcast from the navigation menu. You'll also be able to find the various services that we provide at IVF Australia. Today I have with me Kalli, who was a patient of mine some years ago with polycystic ovarian syndrome as a diagnosis, and who subsequently seems to have shaken off many of the hormone effects of polycystic ovaries. And to achieve that, she's developed various strategies in terms of nutrition, essential oils, basically a holistic approach to hormone imbalance. She started some workshops educating other women into these approaches, not only just for fertility, but general well-being. So she's going to talk to us about her story to start with, and then myself and Dr. Karen Kong, who works with me, are collaborating in setting up some workshops specifically for women with infertility, and hopefully that will be a benefit to them. Personally, I have to still say I'm slightly sceptical about the curative aspects of the holistic approach. However, I am very positive about the total package, that combining excellent medical care with the best in self-well-being definitely going to produce the best results. So I'll get Kalli to start by telling you about her story.
Hello, thank you for having me in this podcast today. So just a little about me, I suppose. I'm actually a hairdresser and I've been in business for 12 years this year. In the last 2 years, I decided to change the salon to a low toxin salon, which basically means that we've reduced a lot of our the toxins in the salon, and also a health coach as well. So just tell you a little personal story. When I was around about 17 years old, I had an irregular period cycle, and I went to see the doctor, and as advised by the doctor, I was put on the pill, and for 10 years I remained on the pill, and because of the pill I had a regular menstrual cycle each month as well. Fast forward 10 years and I got married, I opened my business, became a hairdresser, and decided that I wanted to start a family. So I spoke with my husband and I decided to come off the pill to cleanse my body of any toxins or anything. And what I found when coming off the pill was that all the symptoms came back that were there before I went onto the pill, which were basically I had bloating, irregular menstrual cycle, and I suppose a little naive at the time. I was like, well, if you're supposed to ovulate once a month, and I was getting a period every 6 months. I didn't really know what was going on, so I booked in to go see an obstetrician. And basically in this consult, I was put on the bed. I had an internal ultrasound, and I was basically told that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome and that the chances of falling pregnant were slim to none. So I'm not sure if you've ever had the experience where you've just gone in for a checkup and you've walked out with what felt like a bit of a slap across the face, nearly. And just for the record, this was not here at IVF. IVF
It wasn't
Australia.
me.
It was not at IVF Australia. I walked out of there and I basically just started researching everything I could on PCOS and natural ways of healing and all that. One of the first actions I took was seeing a naturopath and looking at the foods that I ate and how they contributed to inflammation and hormones and all that. That took a while of figuring out what foods were right for me and what weren't. And I found that over the year or so of experimenting with different foods, and I've always been quite an active person, so exercising daily and all that, I found that my periods still weren't actually coming back. About a year or so later, I decided to come and see Professor Chapman at IVF Australia, and we tried Clomid to bring on my period. We tried ovarian drilling, and we also had about 3 attempts at IVF with no such luck. It wasn't until actually Professor Chapman said something to me in one of the consults, which was something in your brain is telling your ovaries not to work. That got me thinking a little bit. And honestly, at the time, I didn't have the tools, I guess, to continue the IVF journey. It was affecting my relationships at work, at home, and at the time, I wasn't coping at all. So I decided in that consult to take a bit of a break and explore some more options. And I came across a type of natural therapies called breathwork, which I'm not sure if anyone's ever experienced this type of therapy, but it was basically like some deep belly breathing and relaxation. And what that brought up for me was a lot of unprocessed childhood trauma, which once over about a period of a year, say spaced out every 3 months, once a lot of that trauma was processed, my period started returning. So slowly my period started coming back, and I guess it was very exciting for me, actually, as a woman, to have a menstrual cycle. That was really nice. It'd been a really long time. I guess in the meantime, a lot had happened, and basically the whole IVF journey had taken a toll on, like I mentioned earlier, my relationships, and my husband and I ended up separating. And I guess from there, this is why I call it a holistic approach, because I realized that the IVF journey was really difficult, and we focused so much on food and we focused so much on exercise, and there's so many other aspects that are involved, including our emotional health, and which I think it all plays a role, because if you're not feeling well, then you're going to make poorer decisions when you're eating, and vice versa. You're not going to want to get up and exercise. You're not going to want to get up and do what you have to do each day. That one of the reasons for going back to the salon and changing all that was, well, I realized that I'd been eating all these really healthy foods and exercising, and then I was coming to work every day and breathing in these toxins as well. I started to make changes in the salon, and I started running workshops, and basically just on the things that I had learned and what had helped me. It's been about 2 years now, and my cycle is monthly, and the workshops that I run are basically, there's 5 classes at the moment, and they're based on self-love, they're based on nutrition, they're based on reducing toxins, women's hormones, using essential oils, which I've found to be very beneficial, not only I use them in the salon for hair, but also for emotional healing and support, have been absolutely fantastic. And basically the last class that we run is emotional support. So looking at like beliefs that we have and how they may prevent us from moving forward and achieving things that we want to in life. So
Great. Okay. So, I mean, the story is one of total involvement of you as a person and potentially overcoming, without medical treatment, a hormone imbalance. And I think even if it doesn't achieve that in the case of all women, I think that there are many aspects that women should take away. And I'm sure that these workshops will be useful for those women. So our first workshop going to be on November the 1st, 53 Montgomery Street, which is where Dr. Karen Kong, one of my colleagues, has her rooms, and it's got a nice space where we can run the workshop. So that's going to start at 7 o'clock on the 1st of November. If you are interested in coming along to that, if you can go on the website, which is
www.empoweredzoe.com.au.
So Empowered Zoe is one word.
Empowered
Zoe. Okay. Where does that come from?
Well, Zoe's actually my middle name.
Oh, right.
And it means life.
Right.
So, yes.
Empowered life. Excellent.
Life.
All right. So, if you listen to this and you want to come along, log on and we'll see you on the 1st of November. So, just repeating, the holistic workshop, Balancing Your Hormones, will be on November the 1st at 53 Montgomery Street, Kogarah, in the rooms of Dr. Karen Kong, and we hope to see you there. And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey Podcast from the navigation menu.
Thank you for listening to the IVF Journey with Dr. Michael Chapman, the podcast which helps couples negotiate their way through the IVF journey, all the way to parenthood. You can also ask questions by contacting Dr. Chapman's rooms on 1-800-111-483 or by emailing him michael.chapman@ivf.com.au.